Because all opinions matter. And George Soros will pay good money for them. The show starts now.
We want you to produce. You want me to produce your war? Not a war, it's a pageant. We need a theme, a song, some visuals. We need, it's a pageant. It's like the Oscars. That's why we came to you.
I always think of that clip when I'm thinking of wars and rumors of wars. How are you today? And hi, how are you, Uncle Milty?
I'm good.
That doesn't sound good.
Well, I'm as good as can be expected, with all the nonsense that goes on.
Every day it's kind of like waking up to, oh my gosh, what's next? That's what it feels like sometimes.
The thing is, and I've said this before, and you've said the same thing, it's really distressing when you find out that someone you thought was intelligent, rational, conservative thinking turns out to not be.
Oh.
Something happens where all of a sudden it's like someone I care about didn't get what they needed, and it's all the rich people's fault.
Oh, sounds like a Democrat, actually.
Yeah,
it's always the rich people are the problem. Yeah,
and the thing is this person has always seemed to be very conservative, but all of a sudden it's nope. Someone I love needed help, and there's no rich people there to help. So they're greedy and selfish.
We're going to talk about that in the show today. We have a caller, but we're going to talk about that because there's there's a lot of stuff going on that it really kind of dictates socialism at the root. But I think a lot of conservatives don't see it. They don't see that they can be very socialist, right? Or they can be very just not understanding how the country works. All right, let's take this caller. I also want to talk about Zelensky. Because he presented a plan to end the war. So I actually have a statement on that, a statement from him on that. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show. Go right ahead.
Yeah. Hi, guys.
Hi.
I don't want to derail your topic for the day, but I want to make a quick comment about Susan's remarks yesterday regarding some of the stuff she was talking about with Salt Lake City, the invasion of the gangs there.
Sure. It was Colorado, I thought.
Hub trafficking for drugs throughout the United States. All the drugs go to Salt Lake City and then are dispersed out from there.
Oh, wow.
So it's not surprising gangs are accumulating in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, and Colorado, I guess. She was talking about Colorado and Salt Lake, I think, a little bit. Yeah.
And then the other thing was on the fentanyl thing. Did you not have a guest some weeks ago talking about the huge business in organ harvesting? And that's why the fentanyl is coming into the country. They want to kill these young people temporarily, and then the police revive them, put them on life support so they can get all their organs and sell them on the market. That's because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yes, and I think the connection of dots there, I wish people would pay more attention to that and honestly re-examine sort of what we do as a society or what's acceptable as a society when we take organs from a body, because it's a huge profitable business in the billions. Absolutely. Yep. And the fentanyl connection. Yep. Thank you. Appreciate that. Some great info there. People should pay attention. Oh, get yourself off a donor list, please. I can't say that enough. I did an entire show on this. All you have to do is Google Kate Daly show and the organ donation. Yeah.
Well, there's been a recent study that says that people who die from drug overdoses create more organs available for transplant people. I mean, it's an accurate study that claims that, like a fentanyl death doesn't prevent them from harvesting your organs to be used in somebody.
Right. It is, it's really, I can hear your feet. It's really, I was like, what does that sound? It's really, boy, we could launch into a whole hour on that. If you haven't studied it, if you haven't realized yet, they take your organs when you're very much alive. Yeah. You're not dead. You're not dead. And to put somebody in that position, I don't think they realize. I mean, look how many shows have been done about how giving it is and how amazing it is. And maybe you are the recipient of somebody that died. but really examine how they're doing it.
Yeah, as long as the drugs or whatever happened cause only your conscious mind to be closed, but your autonomics are operating,
right,
and your heart's beating, they kept my mother alive for 4 hours until I could get from California to where she was in the hospital to let her die.
Right.
And within 10 minutes of me getting there, she was dead. So they kept her alive for quite a while.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of rushing that goes along with this, and there are people that come in to rush you into these decisions. Do the right thing, do the nice thing, rethink that. Get yourself off the donor list, do some homework before you put yourself back on if you really want to do that. Big warning for you all. So that show is good. Please listen to it, because there was a huge whistleblower attached to that show that I did, and it was a Friday show, and it's really alarming. So, yeah. Anyway.
Yep.
And also he was talking about the violence. New York City, migrant crime, general riots getting out of hand. Are people noticing this? You can call up and tell me. When the media puts stuff out, I'm very skeptical about any story that they put out, because I know how they like to gaslight. They can lie. They do lie. They lie in every story. And sometimes there's a kernel of truth there, and then they exaggerate or they underplay. Okay, fair? Okay.
Yep.
So you always have to go in with a critical eye saying, okay, what is it about this that they want us to take away? Now, there are a lot of stories, and they're getting people really upset about these. They're not migrants; they're illegals in our country that are gang members, that are acting as gang members in smaller cities, even more rural. Is this happening? Are you seeing this? Are you experiencing this? 888-673-1450. I go boots on the ground. Whenever the media is diving into a story like this and really talking about this, then I have to question it. Doesn't mean I don't believe it all. It's just I have to question it. Boots on the ground is a lot more interesting to me than the New York Post, Fox News, because they're such liars.
Yep.
So you have to, 888-673-1450, 888-673-1450. Call up if you're experiencing in your area this type of violence from these kinds of people.
Yeah. To be fair, they're only liars when they're talking.
just at that moment.
Yeah.
Or writing.
Well, yeah, that too.
But other than that, but I want to know from you, because I think, I don't know, it's just always better. So what they're talking about is the fact that this is subway muggings in New York. It is people kind of going into stores, but they're really getting people freaked out across America.
This won't start being an issue until people start defending themselves.
Right.
As soon as the American people start defending themselves, then something will be done.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, you had the ex-governor of New York saying, well, not every migrant's a criminal, and it's too many people, and, whatever. Anyway, that story. I think there's just more to that. So I just want to get down to the bottom of it, is really what that's about. Have you noticed that, I'll change subjects, but you can call in if you are noticing anywhere that you have this issue going on. But no more talk about Julian Assange. Where's all the interviews?
Where is he?
Where is he? What's going on? That's kind of odd, isn't it? We did a show where I have a lot of doubts about the authenticity of Julian Assange. And I know people paint him as a hero, just like they paint Elon as a hero. But there's too much there to not notice that he got out of a crime that he did, where he was facing a very long sentence, decades, and all of the sudden really became the whistleblower Julian Assange, okay? At the exact moment that he didn't have to do the sentence. Have you ever heard of that, not having to do the sentence? They usually go in to be, informants. Well, there's no talk about him at all. There's no talk about the Secret Service and their slanted roofs that they're afraid of. There's no talk about the Secret Service. When was the last article you saw? It's interesting, isn't it? And I know people will say, well, we go in cycles, and what's hot at the moment. I know that's true. But that's it? No more scrutiny on the Secret Service? Really? I mean, that was a short little thing.
It's not the people that decide what's hot at the moment. Mm-hmm. It's the media that decides what's hot at the moment.
Yes, that is so true. That is so true. So I always wonder about everybody that's in the news. And it's not a paranoia thing, I promise, but it's people that are portrayed to us. They get the hero label. Always look under the hero label. They get the bullied label, or there's just all kinds of things. Today there was articles about a group of 20 migrants attempted to enter California school bus, picking up students. Really, really scary scene. Okay. Now, is that going on everywhere? Is this an isolated incident? Who are they really? You have to ask. I don't know. Something seems odd.
Yeah, very odd.
I mean, I know there's a lot of criminals. I know that there are people coming across the border, simply an border invasion. That is pretty well known. Yeah, that's a fact. But then what would be the reason for gaslighting in this way if this wasn't the case everywhere? Because they really do try to make it look like it's everywhere. That your little town is going to be hit next. Is that true, or is that an exaggeration? See?
I believe it's an exaggeration. I believe all those kind of troubles are going to happen in the big, large, anonymous cities.
Yeah.
They need the anonymity. If it happens in small towns, they lose their anonymity.
Right, right. So I'm not quite sure. And I think it's easy for us to go with violence is everywhere. And, we're the next people to have this happen in our town. But I try to think critically about that and take it for what it is. And is this an isolated incident, or are there several isolated incidences across the country? They love us to be gaslit. That is one thing that they absolutely love. So you always have to take that for what it is. When we come back, I want to talk about Zelensky for a moment. Who is really behind Zelensky? Who picks everybody that Zelensky has in his cabinet staff? Who's pulling the strings there? And it's really an interesting answer, of course. But Zelensky is a puppet that we've established on the show. But we will talk about that a little bit, and his statement coming back. Kate Daly Show with Uncle Milty. Be right back.
Thanks for listening to The Kate Daly Show. All opinions expressed by the program participants on The Kate Daly Show are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Patriot Radio, KSGO.